We're going to move on out of that mysterious close encounter. This object you see here was caught on camera flying past the SpaceX rocket just minutes after liftoff last week.
An object the size of a city block just drifted past the ISS. NASA cameras caught everything. They captured a massive UFO close to the International Space Station.
Okay, I'm going to put a red on the front flap of this, and then I'll bring the red around to the back of the shroud. I'll see how that works, if that's all right with you.
Astronauts saw it moving with no obvious engines or fins, and Mission Control replayed the footage in stunned silence.
Other footage from the ISS has reinforced the idea that strange things are happening up in orbit.
Scientists now question whether this was space debris, a dark comet, or something else entirely. This sighting challenges everything we thought about space debris and alien craft. The ISS as a UFO observation post. Orbiting roughly 260 miles above Earth, the International Space Station offers an unmatched vantage point. From this height, astronauts peer down at our planet and out into space. The station's windows and external cameras cover all angles, scanning for scientific data and unexpected sights. NASA runs continuous live streams from several ISS cameras. Footage archives store every frame for review. Whenever astronauts notice a curious shape, a firefly glint, or a distant bogey streak, they flag the time and camera angle. Mission Control logs these entries, noting date, time, and camera ID in a central database. In 2014, crew members reported small, fast-moving fireflies just beyond the station's hull. At first, engineers thought they were ice particles from thruster firings. Later reviews linked some to material shed by visiting vehicles. Yet a few remained unexplained, tiny, glowing dots that darted too sharply for debris. In 2016, a newer anomaly earned the nickname Bogey. Onboard sensors recorded an object moving close to the station, but no docking request came through. Cameras caught a dark, spherical shape drifting silently past the node. Engineers back on Earth scrambled satellite data, but found no launch or spacecraft matching its path. The Bogey log remains open. Tracking these objects starts with data fusion. Ground teams combined live video with radar tracks from the U.S. Space Surveillance Network. If radar picks up an unidentified body, they cross-reference it with known satellite and debris catalogs. A match means routine cleanup. A mismatch raises an alert. They then assign a level of concern from harmless to potential collision, or UFO candidate. When a candidate emerges, NASA taskings shift. Astronauts train to adjust camera focus and lighting angles. They may schedule an extra EVA to photograph the object at close range. On Earth, analysts run orbital models to predict its next pass, hoping to identify its origin. Each step follows strict protocols to keep the data clear and reliable. From routine camera checks to a breathtaking close-up, the ISS went from spotting tiny fireflies to capturing a city block-sized silhouette in its path. The massive UFO encounter. On March 12, 2025, ISS camera number 4 captured something extraordinary. At 1742 UTC, a vast dark object drifted across the station's view. It spanned nearly 600 feet, roughly the size of 2 football fields end to end. Its shape was irregular, almost crescent-like, with smooth edges that didn't match any known spacecraft or debris. The footage came from the European module's external HD camera. Astronauts initially spotted the object on a routine equipment check. They called Mission Control in Houston, which pulled the live feed and recorded the segment for analysis. The raw clip shows the object moving steadily parallel to the station's path, neither tumbling nor rotating. NASA analysts first considered a defunct fuel tank or a discarded module panel, yet those items usually appear with jagged edges and reflective patches. This craft absorbed light, casting a uniform shadow across its surface. Thermal imaging later showed no hotspots typical of metal fragments warming in sunlight. Velocity estimates placed the object at about 4 meters per second relative to the ISS, slow enough to track but too fast for planned rendezvous. Experts calculated a stable orbit nearly matching the station's inclination, suggesting it had been circling Earth for weeks, perhaps months. Space agencies worldwide weighed in. Russia's ground radar failed to register the object. Europe's Galileo network saw no matching track. Only Japan's JAXA reported a faint signal on a deep space frequency, but the signal lacked the consistent patterns of a satellite beacon. The object's orbit ran nearly polar, similar to many Earth observation satellites, but at a slightly lower altitude. At each pass, the ISS and the UFO came within 200 meters. Astronauts noted no thruster plumes or heat signatures, just complete silence and stillness. Contrast this with known debris. A spent rocket stage flips unpredictably and glints in sunlight. Broken panels flutter and rotate. Even dark payload fairings show patches of sunlit metal. Here, nothing moved, no flashing seams, no reflective spots. It behaved as if engineered to hide. Ground cameras at Kennedy Space Center later recorded a dim streak as the object crossed the sky, confirming its path. Amateur radio operators picked up a faint carrier wave at 1.2 gigahertz, but it faded after 2 minutes. That frequency lies near amateur bands, leaving open whether it was a hobbyist tracker or part of the mystery. After watching that huge object drift silently past the station, the debate shifts. Is it a stealthy, dark comet, or something far more mysterious? Dark comets versus alien craft. When objects near the ISS move against expectation, scientists look first to dark comets. These odd bodies behave like comets, small thrusts from outgassing, but show no visible tails. In 2016, astronomers spotted asteroid 2003 RM shifting orbit as if gas was escaping its surface. Yet no bright coma or dust cloud appeared. The term dark comet was born for such stealthy movers. Dark comets split into two families. The outer group comes from regions near Jupiter, with elongated oval paths spanning hundreds of kilometers. They range from a few hundred feet to over 1,000 feet across. The inner group stays closer to the Sun in near circular orbits. These measure tens of feet wide and can slip into orbits matching the ISS. Outgassing on dark comets happens when sunlight heats ice just beneath the rocky crust. The ice vapor escapes through cracks, pushing the object gently. This thrust changes its speed by tiny amounts, but over days, it shifts the orbit enough to stand out. Telescopes track these shifts using precise timing of their sky positions. Could the massive ISS UFO be a dark comet? The object's slow drift and stable orientation fit outgassing models. Thermal cameras showed cold patches consistent with sublimating ice. But the scale seems off. No known dark comet matches that size. Most dark comets top out around 300 feet. Here, we saw something 2 to 3 times larger. Another clue: dark comets reflect sunlight unevenly as jets fire. In video frames, irregular bright spots should appear when gas vents. In this case, the surface stayed uniformly dark. That mismatch raises doubts about a natural origin. Scientists also study dark comets for clues about Earth's water. Some models suggest that early dark comets bombarded our planet, delivering ice and organic molecules. This hypothesis could solve puzzles about Earth's oceans forming despite their proximity to the warm sun. If dark comets once ferried water inward, life may owe its start to these stealthy visitors. In comparison, artificial objects show different traits. Space debris often carries serial numbers or distinct panel patterns. Solar panels glint, and antennas cast shadows. Even defunct satellite fuel tanks leave telltale vent marks. Engineers catalog these details to match fragments to missions. The ISS UFO lacked any such markers. Triangular craft, reported in other ISS footage, adds another layer. In 2019, cameras captured 3 dark, wedge-shaped objects moving in a tight formation against Earth's curve. They rotated as a unit, suggesting control surfaces far beyond simple tumbling. Their abrupt acceleration, jumps of 10 meters per second, defied explanations involving outgassing or sunlight pressure. Some propose that these triangles are advanced probes from unknown space agencies or extraterrestrial sources. They might harness exotic propulsion, perhaps magnetoplasma drives or photon sails tuned to invisible light. No known rocket or ion thruster could account for their moves. If so, our dark comet sightings could hide alien craft. They adopt dusty, rocky shells to blend in, then activate advanced engines for maneuvers. This stealth tech would explain the lack of visible features and uniform darkness. It would also account for stable orbits aligning with the ISS path for extended observation. Yet this theory demands extraordinary evidence. Hidden craft cannot be confirmed without close-up imagery or physical debris. The ISS's limited camera set, while powerful, cannot resolve centimeter-level details at 200 meters distance. No astronaut EVA has yet ventured close enough to snag a piece. To bridge that gap, scientists call for targeted observation missions. Small free-flyer satellites, CubeSats, could tag along ISS, equipped with high-resolution LiDAR and spectrometers. These instruments could map surface composition, detect jet plumes, and pin down thermal profiles. With repeated passes, they would gather a dossier on any suspect object. Meanwhile, ground-based radar arrays like the U.S. Space Surveillance Network could repurpose their sensitivity towards slow-moving, dark objects. By tuning to non-reflective bodies, they might catch echoes from dark comets or hidden craft. Combining radar and optical data would sharpen orbit models and reveal outgassing signatures. If natural ice jets can mimic UFOs, how do we explain those perfect triangular formations performing impossible aerial acrobatics? Triangular UFOs and advanced maneuvers. In recent years, several triangle-shaped objects have appeared on ISS video feeds. Crew members first spotted 3 dark wedges moving in perfect formation just beyond the station's exterior panels. They glided together, their tips pointing forward, as if on rails. Yet there was no visible means of propulsion. Astronauts described these craft suddenly shifting speed. One moment, they drifted at 2 meters per second. The next, they shot ahead at 10 meters per second. Then, they'd hover motionless beside the station, as though testing their alignment. In another sighting, the trio split apart, looped around the station, and rejoined on the far side, all within 20 seconds. Such feats defy known aerodynamics. Terrestrial jets need airflow over wings to turn. Ion drives work too slowly for abrupt twists. Yet these triangular shapes banked sharply, pivoted mid-air, and maintained a steady hover. No exhaust plumes, no heat halos, no solar sails or reflective panels, just smooth, silent motion. Video analysts at NASA compared the footage to known satellite behaviors. Standard satellites spin to stabilize orientation. Rocket boosters fire in bursts, leaving visible heat signatures. Even classified military craft leave faint thermal plumes. But these triangles displayed none of those clues. Thermal scans showed them almost as cold as the void around Earth, suggesting some form of exotic insulation or energy source. Astronauts interviewed by major news outlets noted the uncanny precision of the formations. One veteran flyer said the objects moved like synchronized swimmers, never colliding with each other or drifting off course. Cameras captured them angling in tight V-shapes and holding formation as they orbited from horizon to horizon. Ground controllers logged each event in a special ISS anomaly database. For a triangular UFO to enter that list, it must evade classification as debris, a known satellite, or a vehicle part. So far, these crafts remain in the unidentified category, alongside ice fragments and rare micrometeoroids. Speculation runs wild. Some engineers propose plasma-based drives using electromagnetic fields to push against Earth's magnetosphere. Others suggest magnetoplasma engines that ionize residual atmospheric particles for thrust. Neither tech exists in public programs or in disclosed military projects. To build and test such systems would require funding in the billions, plus secret launch facilities. Yet nothing hints at such an operation. Another theory argues these triangles are test beds for next-generation stealth spacecraft. Their black surfaces could absorb radar and optical sensors, while onboard AI keeps them out of public logs. If so, they might belong to a government agency reluctant to reveal new reconnaissance methods. But no country claims them, and no test rocket fire was tracked in corresponding orbits. Astronauts pressed for answers in live broadcasts, but NASA emphasized mission priorities. They must keep cameras aimed at Earth and critical experiments, not chase shadowy flyers. Still, engineers on the ground run simulations each time footage appears, searching for propulsion signatures or reflective flashes hidden in frame-by-frame analysis. Moving on, could an ancient orbital watcher like the Black Knight explain decades of strange signals? The Black Knight satellite legend. A century of rumors surrounds a silent sentinel in orbit, the Black Knight satellite. Its origin story traces back to Nikola Tesla in 1899. He built a Colorado Springs tower to study electricity. One night, his antenna picked up strange pulses. Tesla thought they came from space and hinted at intelligent life. Later, radio pioneer Marconi reported similar signals. Scientists recognized long-delayed echoes of radio pulses that bounced back seconds after transmission, but could not explain them. In 1954, Major Donald Kehoe, a noted UFO researcher, claimed U.S. scientists tracked 1 or 2 artificial satellites circling Earth years before Sputnik. He said they orbited at 400 and 600 miles altitude, sending periodic signals like Tesla's. Newspapers ran the story, and the Pentagon scrambled to explain. Soon, official radar bases detected an unknown object in a polar orbit, moving west to east, opposite the direction expected of early spy satellites. By 1960, U.S. tracking stations confirmed a dark satellite in near-polar orbit. Ground astronomers in France and Venezuela reported sightings of an object that appeared, disappeared, and reappeared without warning. Its path crossed over every latitude, as if it observed every point on Earth. Some said it was as large as a 15-ton truck. In 1963, astronaut Gordon Cooper entered legend. During his Mercury flight, he and his ground crew saw a green, glowing object drifting past his capsule. Pressed later, Cooper admitted the sighting but was told it was a sensor glitch and high carbon dioxide levels in the cabin. After retiring, he said he believed the object was real, adding weight to the legend. The story took another turn in 1973. Scottish researcher Duncan Lunan analyzed decades of long-delayed echoes. He plotted time delays against pulse sequences, unveiling a crude star map. The map pointed to the constellation Bootes, specifically Epsilon Bootes. Lunan suggested the map dated back 13,000 years, meaning the satellite or probe had been watching Earth since the Ice Age. He even translated part of the code into an English message describing the probe's home planet and its position in a 7-world system. Skeptics pounced. Many radio experts argued that long-delayed echoes come from atmospheric plasma or ionospheric reflections, not alien transmitters. Lunan later recanted parts of his theory, calling his translation speculative. Yet the star map idea captured public imagination and cemented the Black Knight myth. Then came 1998, when Space Shuttle Endeavour docked with the ISS. Crews installed the Unity node and took photos of what looked like a dark, angular object near the station. Some saw a thermal blanket drifting away. Others saw a solid, structured craft. NASA claims it was simply insulation lost during an EVA. Critics note that the shape in the photos appears rigid, with clear lines and angles, unlike a floppy blanket. Even today, modern debunkers concede that the earliest Tesla signals were pulsars, discovered in 1968, and that long-delayed echoes remain unsolved, but likely atmospheric. They dismiss Kehoe's 1954 reports as misidentified satellite tests. Still, they can't fully explain Cooper's sighting or the photo from Endeavour. Official archives have no records of lost blankets matching the images. The Black Knight legend endures because it combines reputable scientists, mysterious signals, astronaut testimony, and leaked photos. Each element on its own is explainable. Together, they form a web of intrigue. Digital-era researchers comb through radar logs and telescope data, hoping to catch the Black Knight on radar. Ground-based amateur astronomers track near-polar debris, comparing orbits to the station's path. Finally, let's discuss the swing between hard science and wild theories for every unexplained sighting. Scientific and conspiracy theories. Orbit anomalies fuel two broad camps, science and speculation. On the scientific side, researchers point to unreported test satellites or experimental prototypes. Nations often launch secret craft, later denying their existence. Classified military satellites could use stealth coatings to avoid detection, then slip behind cover or maneuver unpredictably before fading from radar. Another theory sees classified debris from failed missile tests or defense experiments. Debris can break into odd shapes, tumble in odd orbits, and behave erratically. If such fragments escaped public cataloging, they might appear as UFOs in ISS footage. On the other side, conspiracy theorists argue for alien probes. They cite the triangular UFO's impossible maneuvers and the Black Knight's long legend. Some propose interstellar handshake maps, like Duncan Lunan's star chart, sent as a greeting. Others imagine probes intentionally cloaked in rock or ice to hide their true form, only revealing themselves to those who watch closely. Long-delayed echoes fuel psychological and atmospheric explanations. Some scientists link LDEs to strange plasma layers high in the ionosphere. Others suspect echoes bounce off trapped charged particles in Earth's magnetic field. While no firm consensus exists, most agree these echoes need more study before invoking aliens. Calls now rise for a dedicated ISS anomaly task force. Such a group would combine NASA, ESA, and private partners to analyze every unclassified sighting. They'd deploy CubeSats for close-range inspection and repurpose ground radar arrays to focus on slow, dark objects. A shared database would track anomalies in real time, alerting crews and ground teams simultaneously. Balancing skepticism and open inquiry remains key. Blanket dismissal of every odd sighting risks missing real threats, like collision risks from debris or undeclared satellites. On the other hand, leaping to ET conclusions undermines public trust. The challenge: sift known science from speculation, keep protocols transparent, and share data widely. This massive ISS UFO sighting blurs the line between debris, dark comets, and possible alien craft. They captured a massive UFO close to the International Space Station, forces us to rethink space security and our cosmic neighborhood. What's your take on these orbital mysteries? Leave a comment, subscribe, and ring the bell, because the next encounter could change our view of the universe forever.